Oh my God. Hey,
Hi.
how are you?
Good. How are you, Elle?
I'm good. It's my second live I've ever done, so I'm always
Oh,
like
well, you
surprised.
beat me. You're one up on me. This is my first. So,
Ah!
yes. I know I look like I'm broadcasting from my kidnapper's basement here, but
We're doing what we can, right?
exactly.
Yeah. Got to find those windows.
Oh, for sure. But thank you so much for joining us today. Really excited to talk to you about The Great, which I am in the midst of binging, and it's a terrific show.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I know it's out today. I feel like I've been like antsy all day. I can't sit still. I'm excited it's out in the world. It's a bit weird that it's just out there for anyone to just click and watch any of the episodes now when you've been working on it for so long and trying to get it right. And
when did you guys start filming?
We we did the pilot like I guess a year ago. I'm very bad with timelines, but we filmed for 6 months. The turnaround was actually pretty quick because we finished in like February. Yeah, finished in February, and then now it's all out. So for 6 months in East London, which is crazy when you watch the show. Most of the locations are all sets that were truly built in East London at this little studio next to a McDonald's. So it's like,
what?
Yeah,
it looks like this huge, massive, expansive estate.
I know. I know, the movie magic. Of course, there's some parts that we filmed in Caserta in Italy, and this Caserta is this giant castle. It's like bigger than Versailles. I think it was huge. We got to go there. It was special.
And so for folks who haven't seen it yet, it's this satirical, sort of semi-ahistorical take on Catherine the Great. Tell us more about the show.
Yes, it's definitely I would say a historical satire about the rise of Catherine the Great. We see her in the first episode. She's extremely young, and she's just arriving to Russia to her arranged marriage with Peter III, who's played by Nicholas Hoult. And Catherine, in the beginning, she is kind of this gorgeously optimistic, almost naive young girl who
she's so well-meaning in the beginning.
I know, she wants romance and love. She just wants a great marriage, and then she arrives in Russia, meets her husband, and like reality kind of slaps her in the face, and she realizes it's nothing as she expected, and in order to kind of fulfill her destiny in life, she needs to kill him and plan a coup. And that's the first season, is the coup planning and the complications of that, and her growing power and finding her voice as a leader and woman in this kind of backwards world that she's living in.
And the tone of the show is so interesting because
Yes.
I feel like with these period pieces, they're either super serious or they're completely absurdist, but this really, the pendulum swings back and forth, especially with some of Nicholas's scenes where you don't really know what to expect, whether it's going to be funny or whether he's going to be cruel.
Yeah, completely. I mean, I think we're definitely in the pocket of that dark comedy. And Tony's writing is so specific and witty and irreverent, and it's so fun to play with, but you have to get the tone right, and especially the rhythm of the words needs to be at a certain pace. And I think it was important for us. I think, the whole cast is so gifted dramatically and comedically. So we were able to go back and forth and kind of walk that tightrope. So when things do get serious and do get real, audiences will still believe that, even though we can take it to a bizarre place, but when it drops down to the emotional level, the show doesn't change, and it's still in that vein, and it has everything. So it's definitely specific.
Oh, and I should say, Nicholas Hoult plays Peter the Great.
Yes.
For everyone watching, and it's just it's some of these scenes with you guys. It's really just a slew of terrific performances.
Oh God, thank you. Nick is so incredible as Peter. I would just watch him in scenes and like, just my mouth agape at what he was able to do, because, you know, on the page, of course, like Peter's doing such horrific things. He's doing such disgusting things, but somehow Nick also makes him kind of, you feel bad for Peter and charming and lovable at the same time. And their relationship is my favorite, because Catherine, you know, she's learning from him in a weird way as well. And he is her enemy, but at times she pities him and loves him too. So she's constantly like, it's a push or pull. Should I go through with this? Should I really kill him? Or maybe I shouldn't. Maybe it's fine. You know, I can just manipulate my way through and get it like that. And so those scenes, the banter that we had, they were my favorite scenes to shoot. I think Nick and we work in a similar way. I don't know if it's because we were child actors or something, but we have the same relationship to set and scenes, and we love to challenge each other, and we're just like not embarrassed in front of each other, which is good for scenes in this show.
And you know, tell me about some of your other scene partners too, like Mariel, Phoebe Fox is just fantastic, and I feel like you guys turn a lot of these tropes on their head when it comes to these in period pieces, what are often long-suffering women.
Completely. I think Phoebe is so extraordinary, and now like one of my closest friends. Like I love watching those scenes because we got really close, and I think you can kind of see that dynamic on screen, that we love each other so much and respect each other. She's so feisty, and Mariel is truly kind of the one that's pushing Catherine forward, because sometimes Catherine's very unsure, and Mariel's there to, like, you know, to give her the confidence, I guess. And also, I mean, it's funny because, you know, talking about like strong female characters, sometimes I'm allergic to that term, because I'm like, what? I don't know what that means. Like, I think that, yeah, of course, Mariel's strong, Catherine's strong, but we all have our moments. You know, I'm not so interested in watching those types of characters. I think TV especially has kind of carved this amazing area for, you know, Fleabags and Killing Eves and Russian Doll, and, you know, to like see these juicy women that are, you know, but they have different sides, and they always don't know the right answer necessarily. They're always not necessarily the bravest person in the room either. You know, if that's it, then that's just it. You know, it's like so I don't know. I think I was aware of that, and I'm sure Phoebe too. She added so much to her character, and there's so much more to explore, I think, as well with her. Because a bit, you know, they're friends. She's definitely her closest confidant, they two, but also Mariel, she has her own agenda in the court, and you actually don't really know where her allegiance lies. So she could do some damage.
And I'm curious, how much did you know about Catherine the Great going into the project? I was woefully uneducated, and, you know, was reading more about her after watching the show.
Same here. Same here. I was not super up to date on my Catherine the Great trivia. I knew that she you know, was the Empress of Russia. I didn't know she was the longest female ruler of Russia. And I knew about the horse rumor.
Oh gosh, yes.
I know.
Which gets addressed in episode 4. Yeah. It
does. We addressed that. Fake news, horse rumor. But I think it's pretty sad, you know, this extraordinary, almost dare I say, like the first feminist icon in a way, has been reduced to this horse rumor. And I think, you know, for us, obviously Tony he did tons of research, and, you know, we are not a historical document, our show, by any means, but he pulled out facts that he felt like were going to be useful to the show and driving the narrative forward, and things that were true that she did. And so I didn't do tons and tons of research beforehand. I felt like his scripts were my guide, and I wanted to create kind of my own version of Catherine, because of course there's been a lot of adaptations of her life too previously. So I think we wanted to kind of break free and try to do our own thing.
And so how would you characterize your version of Catherine?
Gosh, I think she's incredibly human. I think I tried to humanize her and kind of bring her to the modern world where, audiences today could relate to what she's going through. I think she's a character of contradictions completely. She's constantly playing, or me, I guess, was playing her, me, a lot of different emotions at once. I felt like, and something that's so special about her, I think her girlish qualities actually are what make her really strong and actually get her through to the end. And she has a bit of like an ego and an arrogance that I really love, which I don't know. Do we I feel like I apologize for that. I'm like, I feel like guys kind of are allowed to have a little bit, have more ego than we are. I don't know if you feel that way.
I feel like women are perennially apologizing for ourselves.
I constantly, yeah. But I think there's something beautiful about Catherine, that she doesn't apologize for that. She just has this way, and she always has a plan B, C, D, and she's extremely curious and growing as well. So she's so fun to play because it was just constantly changing. And I was aware of I've never done a TV show, like a series like this of so many episodes before. So obviously her growth, I was very aware that you have 10 hours now to fill to show her change. I wanted her definitely to be very different by the time we got to episode 10. We did film chronologically, so it was a bit more helpful.
What kind of muscles or creative muscles do you feel like you had to awaken or strengthen to do a sustained TV series versus film?
Gosh, I mean, on a technical aspect, I think it was like I kind of felt like an athlete, like in some ways. It'd be like every
marathon.
Yeah. In 6 months, if I would wake up at 5:30 every morning, had 2 hours of hair and makeup, like the schedule was there, so you had to get enough sleep, like eat at a certain time, like in a way I was kind of conditioning myself in that way. And also the memorization. The memorization was big, which was a muscle that I had to, not that I can't memorize, it's like that is our job, but this we had
but it's a mouthful, some of the dialogue.
It was, yeah, with an English accent too. It was just very, had to get my mouth around it because you had to be sure of the lines. Like we were not allowed to ad lib. We had to be like word perfect. Tony's like right there, the script supervisors. So you had to know it very, very well inside and out because, on the day, then you can be free and you can kind of be spontaneous and try different things and make the pace more or less, or it's just with his writing, it needs to flow in a certain way, which I think Nick was more used to because he was in The Favorite. So maybe that took me a little bit more getting used to. And I think the comedy element, just, I don't think I'm known necessarily for being, in comedy. So that was a muscle I had to learn or use.
And tell us a little bit more about your role as an executive producer on this show too. Is this your first time producing for TV?
Yes, first time for TV. I've done, I produced a Netflix film before this. And then the TV show came to be. It was like, I wanted to get behind the scenes for quite a while now. I've just been itching for that. I don't know if because I started so young, you just see everyone working on the film. You're like, I've always been curious how it comes together. And, but I felt very much like Catherine a bit because I was learning to, in a different position on a film set, a place that I'm not used to being, phone calls I'm not used to being on, not used to watching cuts and having to give my opinion, so I think, which it can be nerve-wracking when you're on there's a lot of execs and it's, a big production. So I was trying to get my voice heard. I think I grew in confidence with that and realized like, I have some good points, like, and was able to speak up on those phone calls as it went along. But I think it's just like when you're a part of it and when you're so passionate about it, it just makes it all the better. Like you want to watch every edit, you want to like listen to every music cue. It's just I cared so much when you're with it from the very beginning, because I had to go to pitches and stuff, which was interesting. You pitch to streaming services.
Tell us more about that.
Yeah,
what's it like being in the room there?
It was that was new. I mean, definitely sometimes you'd walk in, there'd be a lot of, men in suits, so you're like, okay, and I'm like, we're the creatives coming in trying to felt like a circus a bit, trying to like sell ourselves, you're like, oh, do you pick up what we're putting down? So we all had our own little role, and it was fun. I actually enjoyed it, but you do have to kind of memorize your little thing. It feels like, it always feels like school, like, PowerPoint presentations or something.
How many pitch meetings did you guys have to go into?
It was like a handful. I mean, I feel like, I'm estimating maybe like 7.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
Yeah. It was a lot. We had like, I think two full days of driving around LA to the different places.
Cool.
Yeah.
There's a real parallel there to you coming into your own and Catherine's storyline too.
Totally. Yeah. I completely felt like that. Yeah, definitely.
And, going back to your days on set, you said you were in that hair and makeup chair, it sounds like, for a while every day. Tell us more about the hair and makeup and the costuming, which is gorgeously intricate.
Completely. I know it. They, jobs, and we also had I'm thinking about even the sets, but our hair and makeup, I wore wigs even though it was blonde, it was all wigs that were elaborately styled, and then you could put it on, so that actually shaved off some time. But just even, the costumes and the corsets, obviously, which aren't the most fun. They're very painful. 6 months of corsets. Like, I definitely, for all of us girls, oh yeah, real boning, all that.
Oh God.
You get used to it. Your body changes, like it does. It just,
isn't
because
that
you're wearing it for so long.
They're supposed to like reshape you, but don't they move your organs around inside?
They do. They push all your organs down. So like I was like getting scared looking up, x-rays of women back in the day. Like
Googling
everything's just like in a ball. I know. Like, oh my gosh. But they do look beautiful. They do look beautiful. All the fur that I wore in the show is also fake fur. That was something that I wanted. Looks gorgeous. But that's just a little trivia. Yeah.
What's it like delivering some of those lines in a corset?
I have so my dialect coach who helped me with the English accent, we did a lot of breathing exercises, because you have to, it's hard to describe, but you kind of have to say some of the lines all in one breath. Like it just sounds better. And then if you can't really get a great deep breath with that corset, you're like, ooh, you had to do some exercises with that and calm yourself, for sure. But you get used to it. You get used to it. And then over time you can you can break it, if that makes sense. It's like you can break it down and hit, that's even in our show. Like someone tries to hit me in the stomach and I'm like, didn't feel anything, corset.